Hi everyone, I'm Danielle with Trinity Readings. We are going to do an end of the year reading, and this is going to be for the sign of Virgo. So keep in mind these are general readings, so take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If you find that the reading doesn't resonate, you can always check your moon, rising, or Venus placements, because sometimes those will resonate more. And I do offer personal readings. You can get all that information in the description box. All right, Virgo, we're just going to see what end of the year messages your guides have for you. Anything you need to be aware of as we're closing out this year. I apologize ahead of time for my nails looking like complete shit. All right. So let's just see what messages are wanting to come through for you overall. There's this energy of like seriousness, or the need to kind of get serious about a situation that you've been dealing with, or the need to have a serious conversation. Let me see. It's like laying everything out in kind of like a very like black and white way. Like, these are the pros, these are the cons, like laying everything out on the table in order to kind of like almost like get us a more serious view on the situation, or get a more practical view on the situation that you're dealing with. It might be that like something that you've been dealing with kind of in the background, or not a lot of people know about, or you're dealing with a situation that you only have a little bit to go on, and there's a need to kind of get everything out on the table so you know what it is that you're dealing with, and you can actually do something with this moving forward. Yeah, I feel like you're in this energy of moving towards manifesting something new, especially when it comes to like soulmate connections, to relationships with people that are going to help you grow and help you evolve in some way. I feel like you also have like an idea, or you have some sort of information or communication or knowledge of what it is that you want, something that is going to help you grow, or something that you want to grow with. But it's like, I feel like you feel like you only have a little bit of information, or you feel like you only have a little bit to go on, or you're wanting to kind of like start a new beginning with this, but you don't feel like you have everything you need. But your guides are saying that there's a need to like completely commit to this new beginning that you're wanting, even if you feel that you don't have everything you need. But at the same time, get everything out in the open, if that makes sense. Like, bring everything up to the surface, bring everything out in the open, so you know where you stand, so you know what you have to work with. There might be something that you're dealing with that you are more equipped. You're more experienced than maybe somebody else that you're dealing with. And so it might be just something as simple as you're going to need to be the one to kind of take the lead on this. Let me see what else wants to come through. You're showing up as the Six of Wands, and so this means that you've reached a level of success. You've overcome a difficult obstacle. You're getting a lot of positive recognition, or people look up to you, or people even maybe look up to you as a leader. Yeah, there's something that you're dealing with right now that you are more experienced in, or you have more confidence in this than maybe um if it's something that like it's a relationship or there's somebody else involved in this. It might be like that you're dealing with somebody who doesn't have the same level of experience as you do, or they don't have the same amount of confidence as you do, and so they are more hesitant in approaching this or expressing than you are. It might also be something that you're ready to kind of like, there's something that you know that you will be successful at, but emotionally there's a lot of uncertainty in this. Like, this is a new venture to take on emotionally, or the next step is to put yourself in a position that is going to make you feel emotionally vulnerable. It's like this is something that you will be successful in. This is a venture that you're going to be successful at, or something that you want success in. But the next step is in kind of letting yourself be a little bit vulnerable, or letting yourself have hope for this, letting yourself connect to this in an emotional way. That the root is Nine of Wands. I feel like whatever this is, it's something that's very important to you. It's something that maybe you've been wanting to work towards for a long time. Or it might even be like the next step in this means that you're going to have to kind of touch on a sensitive subject. It's like, it could be that you're in a relationship with another person and it's in a good space, but you want some sort of progression in this, or take it to the next step, or some level of growth, and you know it's something that, you know, this is worth it. You know that this is something that you will be successful at, but the next step means that you're going to have to approach a touchy subject, or sorry, or it's like you're wanting to, it's like you're wanting to dive into more emotions in a relationship, but that's like it's a very sensitive area. It's something that you haven't yet really explored in this relationship. The person that you're dealing with might be a little bit defensive. You might feel a little bit defensive. There might even be it might even be a situation that there was some sort of conflict that you were dealing with, and you've came through the conflict, like you've overcome the conflict, but there's still like sensitive emotions, like there's still a level of forgiveness that needs to happen, or an apology that needs to an apology that's needed, whether it be from you or the other person. For some of you, I feel like, again, like you've recently overcome some sort of challenge. So for some of you, it might be that you have gotten to a good place in a relationship that has been difficult in the past, or you have left behind a relationship that was difficult, and you're looking to You're looking towards new love. But again, it's like, because you've just overcome something difficult, the next step might feel a little bit vulnerable. The next step requires you to let go of a level of control. Like, be willing to like, there's a need to bring everything out in the open, even if it's not going to necessarily feel comfortable. I definitely feel like there's some sort of situation that you're dealing with that somebody is not as confident as you are. Or in order to get to the next step, you're in a good space, but it's like you're going to have to take a step down, or put yourself at risk for being a little bit vulnerable. But again, I feel like that's what is necessary. The purpose is the Star card. Yeah. So the Star card is about being vulnerable. So there's a need to be vulnerable. You've got yourself to a good enough space where you can afford to be a little bit vulnerable. Vulnerable, especially within your expression, especially even within like your wish fulfillment. It's almost like you're in a good space and you're kind of looking to kind of add more. You would like to add more, but adding more or aspiring for more might put you at risk for losing what you already have. But at the same time, your guides are saying you don't want to settle where you're at, because I feel like you're in a position where you're taking something very seriously, like something's very important to you. And if you don't assert that in some way, I feel like the people that you're connected to might assume that you're not taking it seriously. You have to risk stability, risk losing a sense of comfort in order to step into the truth and even see the entire truth. You have to risk the security. You have to risk losing the security that you've kind of worked a little bit to build in order to get to a bigger truth and a more positive change, to really get yourself moving in the direction of like wish fulfillment. It's like you're in a good space. There's nothing wrong with where you're at. You're in a good space. But it's like, do you want to settle for things where they are now? Or are you ready to kind of take this energy a step further? And to take this a step further, you have to risk losing the security of where you're at now. And being more open with your truth, being more expressive with your truth, even if that's putting you in a vulnerable position. Your guidance is 9 of Cups, 10 of Swords. Like, don't be scared to follow your heart. It does, following your heart doesn't mean that you're going to automatically be betrayed. And is it more of a, like, what is that saying? What is that stupid? Like, it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. Like, would you rather know that you took this risk and failed, or sit in this space for the rest of your life and question what could have been? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, then never to have taken the chance at all. Let go of the idea that making yourself vulnerable is going to be painful. I know that's easier said than done, but if this is in regards to a relationship and you're wanting to kind of elevate this relationship, like you feel like it's in a good space, you feel validated, you feel like you've met your person, but you're wanting to kind of dive more into, you know, a relationship, the emotional aspect of this, I feel like your guides are kind of saying, you and this person are sharing mutual energy, mutual feelings, mutual love, mutual respect. But it might be that the person that you're dealing with is not as confident as you are, or isn't feeling as like you might feel confident that this is your person or something of that nature, but this person doesn't feel as confident, or this person isn't picking up the cues in the way that you think that they are, or something like that. Like, this person is just as scared as you. And so if you're waiting for them to gain more confidence, it might take a little bit longer. Like, I feel like the person that you're, if it is another person, that like you've recently overcome something difficult that they are still in the middle of working through, or you're just more confident in your emotions than this person is, you're more confident in reading the energy than this person is. It's something like that. What you're not seeing is Hangman, Nine of Pentacles. Like, you can afford to surrender. You can afford, you've built yourself up enough to take a little bit of a risk. You can afford to surrender to faith. You can afford to surrender to trust. You don't need to sacrifice yourself or sacrifice your needs or your values or your desires for another person, but you also don't need to worry that wanting something more is putting you at risk or putting you in a vulnerable position. Two of Swords, Page of Pentacles, it's like you're dealing with like some sort of stalemate. The emotional aspect of a situation is not being acknowledged, but this is teaching you something. Like, the emotional connection feels like it's lacking, or you want to explore that emotional connection more. Again, this is teaching you to be more vulnerable. If you want a different level of emotion and vulnerability, you have to be willing to put yourself in the vulnerable position in order for that to flow to you. All right, let me just see if I can get a little bit more. Anything else on what this energy is? You've done good on your own. You've gotten yourself to a good place. And the next step moving forward means that you're going to have to put yourself, like, you don't want to keep doing the same thing. You don't want to keep going about it in the same way. Like, you've got yourself to a comfortable position, and so your instinct might be, I just need to keep doing what I'm doing so I don't lose where I'm at. But that will just keep you sitting in the same place. That's not going to bring you any progression. It's going to keep you settling for something that maybe you've already worked to get out of. And so it's like the next step requires taking a little bit of a risk. And being determined to move past the fears that come from following your heart. You feel like you need to protect your heart. You feel like every move that you make needs to, like you need to protect your heart before you make the move. But your guides are saying you need to be moving with your heart center space now instead of from your practical place of logic. And that means being willing to take a risk. And I also feel like you are the leader in this situation. It's up to you to lead by example, to take the next step. So you can either choose to remain comfortable to do, and I feel like there's nothing wrong in doing that. But if you want more, I feel like it's up to you to assert that, to let yourself be vulnerable. So you can keep things comfortable, but if you keep things comfortable, it's not going to elevate on its own. Does that make sense? You want more. And to get more, be willing to be vulnerable and be a beginner, and that is going to get you what you want. All right, I hope that makes sense, and I hope you have a wonderful end of the year.